my channel. I am filming in my room today, which is so weird because I never film in here, but I read in here, so it's kind of fitting for this video. I'm excited to share with you my favorite books that have literally changed my perspective, changed my mindset, changed my life, whatever you want to say. I have 7 here that are like my favorite books to date, and I want to share them with you all. These books are all so diverse and unique, and I think that's why I love them so much, is because each one kind of, you know, taught me something else, and they're just my absolute favorite. So I'm going to share them with you. So the first book right here is by Sarah Knight. This one I started reading about 3 years ago, I would say. I think everyone goes through seasons of anxiety. I've never been diagnosed with like an anxiety disorder or anything like that, so I just go through seasons of anxiety where sometimes I'm like way more wired than usual. And so I was going through a season of that, a really bad one actually, in the sense that I was sending myself into panic attacks, and it was a whole thing for a minute. So this book was incredible. I really love this book because there are, like, even the first random page I opened to, it's almost like workbook style. It's an easy read. So for someone like me, I get very bored very quickly. So I need something that catches my engagement, and this book definitely did in that way. Like, just the way that there's like little, you know, like excerpts here or little parts to work through, stuff like that. I think that this is an easy read for anyone, and it's fun and relatable, and I love the title. I actually keep this one like on my shelf facing up because I like a little fun little title. So some of you may know this, some of you may not. Before I came over to YouTube and the podcast, I was finishing my master's to be a school psychologist. So with that being said, tons of counseling work, tons of counseling experience. So I am really like a big proponent of healing and trauma and stuff like that, which anybody can be. You don't need to be, you know, finishing your master's to be a school psychologist to do that. I'm just telling you that because that's where I got a lot of these recommendations from. So this one in particular, called The Body Keeps the Score, which is written by Bessel Kolk, MD. I don't want to pronounce that wrong. So this is all about the healing of trauma, and this book to me in particular is a little more of a take a highlighter out and read it type of a book, but it's incredible. And if you're curious about, you know, healing trauma from your past or yourself, like, there's a lot of awesome information in this book. Gabrielle Union to me is someone who is so dynamic in nature. There's so many layers to her, and that is my favorite part about this book, is that she takes you into those layers. And the thing that's so unique about her style of writing is that I genuinely feel like I am talking to her, and that sounds crazy, but that's what you want. You want to hear the writer's voice while you read their stories, and with Gabrielle Union's book you absolutely do. And it's incredible. I love that she wrote it just how she would speak. This next book, also, I take off the covers of a lot of my books because I put them around my house and I just think it's more aesthetically pleasing, but this is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a very trendy book for really good reason. So now I'm going to kind of get into some of the trendier books that are really, really incredible. So James Clear has an incredible book here. So James Clear's way of writing is similar to what I was saying about Sarah Knight's book, in the sense that there's a lot of like practical examples as you go through the book. So my favorite part though about this, besides like habit stacking and, you know, ways to just kind of like hack this life in a lot of ways, is what I took from this book. He does a lot of chapter summaries, which I appreciate so much. There's nothing I like more than like reiterating a concept so that I really get it down. So highly recommend. Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a. I'm not gonna say it so that YouTube doesn't take me down before we even get started. But this book is incredible in the sense that this author, Mark Manson, he has a very realistic lens as he writes. And for someone like me who can, like the next book I'm gonna show you, I tend to like go towards more of like a creative mindset and la la land a lot of times. So to read from someone that is a little more like heavy on logic was really helpful. Like for example, I just opened up to a random page and it says emotions are overrated. Honestly, I don't believe in that. I'm big on like feel your emotions. They're your way that like guide you through this world. But at the same time, like, where's the balance? And so that's what this book gave me. It's been through everything. I don't know if you can see how dirty it is. I threw away the cover, but it's Gracefully You by Jenna Dewan. I absolutely adore this book. This is a book that is, first of all, aesthetically the most beautiful photographs you've ever seen. But this book is something that really got me into crystals and spirituality, and just the way that like this book is absolutely gorgeous. I adore this book because it has a little bit of everything. It has Jenna throughout it, right? It has her personality and her like way of living throughout this book, but it also has like different sectors in the sense that there's a section for breath work and food, and there's, you know, crystals, and there's even like rituals for baths, and like it's just such a gorgeous, beautiful book that I go back to all the time. And so the reason why it's so dirty is because this is oftentimes my bath read. So I bring this in the bathtub with me a lot. It's like the perfect book before bed. It's just stunning. She's stunning. I absolutely adore this book. I don't like to pick favorites, okay? But if I was to have a favorite, it would be the book that I actually avoided for quite a while. A little funny side note to Untamed. I actually avoided reading it for quite some time. I have this like, I don't know, call it what you will, rebellious streak. I try not to like get on trends. It's just something that like the oppositional part of me is like, everyone's reading it, so I don't want it. And then I was in one of my therapy sessions and my therapist was like, did you read Untamed yet? And I was like, no, I'm kind of like, everybody's reading it, like we'll see, da da da. And thank you, Erica, my beautiful therapist, for telling me to buy the book because it will change your life. Amazed by Untamed. So two of my favorite people in the world are Gabrielle Union and Glennon Doyle, and Glennon Doyle has a podcast and Gabrielle Union was a guest on it, and I was like in heaven. My favorite part about Untamed is that Untamed is written in like almost like little short stories, so it is so readable. If you're like me and you get bored, some of the chapters are a page long, some of them are 2 pages long. Like they're just perfect little stories that bounce around throughout Glennon's life, and it makes it so like it really hooks you in. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you right now Tuesdays and Fridays. I've changed the day to have the weekend so I can kind of reset and regroup, but I'm so happy you're here with me, and I'll see you in the next video.